Good morning. I'm going to change my mind about what I'm doing. There's a PowerPoint up here, 28 slides. They're beautiful. They're terrific. I'm not going to show it. So I'm going to try to move quickly. Colorado AMP, which is co-AMP in the state of Colorado. First thing I want to tell you about is the cultural differences of being in the West versus being in the East or the Midwest. The Colorado AMP covers 36,000 square miles. That's bigger than South Carolina or Massachusetts. We can't see all our folks all the time. We cover 5 different systems, 13 schools. Every major school in the state of Colorado is involved in the AMP. And so it's very, very difficult for us to coordinate activities based on distances and based on differences in culture at each of the individual schools. Now, we've managed to increase over that period of time, over the 18 years, increase our number of underrepresented students graduating by 188%. However, most of that, I believe, is accounted for by the increases in the numbers of students attending our institution and not by our interventions. We've managed to retain students at the same level throughout. We've managed to cut the difference between majority and underrepresented students' graduation rate in STEM, but we have not actually eclipsed it, and I don't think, in our case, our graduation rate in STEM in the state of Colorado is about 20%. Now, Colorado is a very interesting state. We are 1, 2, or 3, depending on when you take the data, most educated state in the United States. We are 48th in funding of higher education. We are 50th in the differential between underrepresented students getting bachelor's degrees and majority students getting bachelor's degrees. It's known as the Colorado paradox. We are the 3rd most wired state in the United States. We are one of the top 5 technology states in the United States. We have one of the fastest growing Hispanic populations in the country. 20% of the population of Colorado is Latino, but over almost 50% of the school-age population in Colorado is Latino. And yet of 100 ninth graders, we only graduate 22 in over 6 years in college. So we have a number of issues that we're trying to address. So in the last few years, one of the things we've done is we took Dr. Hurtado's research from UCLA, and we tried to apply the issues of what are the major reasons she said that our students were leaving. Financial reasons, number 1, mathematics, number 2, science identity, number 3, and cultural issues, number 4. Well, because we have 13 institutions and because we are a somewhat rural state, 2.5 million people, the actual budget for the LSMCE in Colorado is not that high, and so we can't directly do some of the things that Texas does or some of the other schools do in terms of supporting students. So we have to leverage our money in interesting ways and different ways. Because of that, we have to integrate with the state in ways that we've been trying to increase. So one of the things we did is start looking at math performance. I mean, what's going on with math? The graduation rate across all students in Colorado out of college is only 50%. Now, that varies by school. Colorado School of Mines has a much higher graduation rate. So when I'm comparing Colorado School of Mines to Metro State, which is an urban master's program in Denver, there's no comparison. We have very different cultures, very different issues. Colorado is number 5 in importing technological jobs and bachelor's degree students into the state. Matter of fact, we are in the second tier in terms of technological states in needing to import students. And yet we have this growing population and we're not making the impact that we need to make. So what I'm here to tell you is that we have some states where, yesterday I do believe in resilience. I think that resilience is an important issue. We need to look at the successful students. But in Colorado, we've had a number of dramatic disasters in the last 2 years. Last year when I was in Washington at JAM, Colorado was on fire. This year, we had historic floods. Now, sometimes there are floods, and sometimes there are fires, and we need to know why there are floods and fires. So knowing why some systems are failing is just as important. Colorado has managed to get rid of almost all of its native population except for the southern Utes and the mountain Utes. And they did it through genocide and chasing everybody out. And that's a historic legacy in Colorado. We're almost as bad as Texas in terms of some of that legacy of racism and genocide, which I think still permeates our institutions in many ways. So yes, we need to address all of those of us who have managed to succeed. But we need to look at what are the systems that are limiting success for our students. And how do we change those systems in the K-12 pipeline in particular? So those are some of the things we're trying to do in Colorado. I was a much happier person on Sunday before I came, and the hospitality has been great from the folks at here, but I don't think the Colts were very nice to the Broncos. Thank you very much.